Hello, my friend.
Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm very good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Did you personally deliver any hugs this year? You like around for any handoffs, or were there any particular like stories that would stand out to you?
For me, it's more the video ones that you guys have shown. Um, it's exciting when kids in clinic get their gifts in clinic, but those tend to be like shopping sprees or a computer or a phone. And
Yeah,
the kids are excited and smiling and happy. But it's kind of a short window.
sure.
And it is exciting because you see kids that haven't smiled in a long time smile and get excited.
hmm
Um,
Even
but for
behind the
me,
mask.
yeah. But for me, I love more the videos of the ones we don't get to see, because those tend to be a little more experiential,
Yeah,
with all the play sets, especially
yeah,
to see kids that we don't get to see in clinic, having fun, because often they're in clinic, they're grumpy and irritable because we're doing mean things to them. And so it's fun to see some of the kids that are in their shell, in their natural personality, having fun outside playing, and to see kids on swings and going down slides. Um, and the added benefit of seeing siblings because of COVID, we haven't been able to see siblings this year. So it's kind of fun on those videos to see siblings on the playset too and enjoying. Because even though it's the kid with cancer that has the biggest burden, the siblings also carry a lot of burden. And so it's nice to see them as well on the videos.
yeah. Because you haven't really got to meet, probably a lot of them this year.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of a good place to go from that is, what has been, your perspective over the last year as far as what your job requires and what kind of changes have you guys had to make in the things that you do from day to day?
COVID has definitely been a challenge, on a lot of levels. One, it causes a lot of anxiety for our families because they're already at high risk for infection. So there's just a lot of anxiety that we have to help with. Um, but it does limit the wraparound care that we're able to do with like playing with siblings and having kids in the play area doing crafts and um, visiting and even seeing faces. Um, One of the moms said, I'd never seen Jessica's face before until the SIPS event because we've always had a mask on. So people don't even know what we look like. Um, and we don't know what parents look like. And even some of the kids, we barely get to see their face. We might take it off for a second to do something that's usually not fun. But it's nice to actually see faces, and we miss that part of it. Um, so that's been huge. And then just limiting all our activities, all our visitors, you guys coming, you guys delivering hugs in person, all our activities. But I've really appreciated the Rachel and Henley because it's been a hard year for us as staff. But you guys really were creative and out of the box. Still managed the auction last year and again this year, virtually. And then the Christmas party we had just written off, like we were all fried. We can't do our normal Christmas party because it didn't meet COVID requirements. And you guys just took it and ran with it. And it was the highlight of the year for the staff and the kids. So we got to, even though it was pouring down rain, it was still magical to see kids getting excited and come by all dressed up in their fancy clothes in the car and wave and give them cookies and crafts, and they got their buddies. And so it was just kind of a magical night for a year that there wasn't a lot of magic that we got to see in person.
Absolutely. Why don't you go ahead and explain to the people who don't know what the Christmas party would normally look like and what the drive-through event looked like this year.
Yeah, so usually we have a huge party. There's usually around 300 people at a local church. We rent out their gym. and it is a packed event. We have incredible catering from Casamia Lakewood. And so there's a buffet dinner for the families. Um, you guys do so much of the work of the setup. We have a craft table that you guys kind of run, and a cookie decorating table. There's a raffle that I always appreciate Nate, because he is the best bodyguard, because giving away a very limited gifts to a large amount of kids. I definitely need a bodyguard, and Alex had to fill in one year because Nate was gone. Um, Nate's a lot better. So I appreciate that. And Santa comes, and so all the kids get to go up on the stage and see Santa, and families can get pictures. We have an angel table for our kids that have passed away this year, that we get to honor them with pictures and mementos. So it's a packed evening with tons of people. And again, kids show up in their Christmas dresses and bow ties and cute little things, and get excited to see Santa and get their buddies and cookies. And so this year, obviously, none of those things are COVID compliant. And we just wrote it off that this is another thing that COVID took from us. But like I said, you guys came in like you always do with your creative connections, and made it happen. And it was incredible just to have a parade where the kids got to drive through in their cars with their whole families. So we got to see siblings again that we haven't seen. And then they got all of those elements, minus the food, driving through. So it was a fun night.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. Any excuse I can have to put on the Kermit the Frog outfit, I am looking for. Even like you mentioned, the rain was pretty heavy for that night, but it was still a lot of fun. So I guess we'll circle back to the Hugs program. You kind of mentioned it a little bit before, but how have you seen, how have you seen the Hugs program continue through 2020? We're excited about, being able to continue receiving a lot of applications and fulfilling them. The requests got changed a little bit from a lot more of the home, not necessarily home improvement, but home enhancement. We definitely did a lot of computers and laptops with all the remote learning going on. But I guess from your perspective, how did you see the Hugs program kind of ride the wave of 2020?
Yeah, again, you guys are creative. And it's been really great because kids also get their Make-A-Wish, but those are usually trip related. And almost all of those are put on hold. But you guys, of course, are creative and come up with other things for kids to have something exciting to look forward to. And they have been meaningful things in COVID for kids to connect. So that's why there's been a lot of computers and phones so kids can connect with their friends that they can't see in person, video games to keep them entertained, room makeovers, so that they can feel comfortable in a place that they're now in 24/7 because they don't get to go out to school and places. And so it's just been nice to see. It's truly been life enhancing for these kids. Just to have something in COVID, which is a difficult time for everybody, to have something to make it special.
It's awesome. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun, being able to help facilitate, just the rough year that's behind us now. And hopefully as things start to mellow out a little bit, we'll get to do a little bit more of the in-person stuff when the time is right. So we're definitely looking forward to that. What to you kind of separates the Hugs program from maybe some other programs and other services that are offered through Mary Bridge?
Well, when I was thinking about this the other day, just as a foundation, you guys have been impressive. I remember the first meeting with, I think it was just Mary and Kelly, with the vision. And at the time I thought, oh, this is great. They'll do hugs for maybe a year. They'll give a few things and then move on, as most organizations do, or families always have good intentions, but it's a lot of work, um, and there's not usually a lot of follow through. Um, However, you guys step it up every single year. Um, but it's just such a personal thing, where a lot of the other resources we have are very form related. You know, kids can get like, or families get packets of stuff, or um, it's the same thing for every child, or generic things like there'll be a backpack of crafts that somebody donates or something like that. But you guys actually go through, when you do your gifts and your backpacks and things, you find out the kids' favorite color. So even if they're getting a phone, which is very generic, you guys find out their favorite color. So you get a phone case that has their color, or something special, you know, some candy to go with their thing. So you guys make it so much more personal than some of the bigger organizations that are a little more form related. So that's really nice to see. And then that's a side of the kid that we get to know, that we can use as we're forming relationships with them, that, you know, blue is their favorite color, or they really love dogs, or tulips are their favorite flower, things like that. We get to know about them, and that might not come up otherwise. And it helps us make our jobs easier.
Well, we love doing it. We love working with you guys. It's been a lot of fun, you know, from day one, getting to work with you guys and build our relationship between us and the staff over there, and finding creative way. You know, we're creative on our own, but not nearly as creative as we all are together. You know, when we all put our heads together, we can find a way to seemingly accomplish whatever we want to. So it's a lot of fun. I guess I'll wrap up with um, looking back at the entirety of the Hugs program. What's one or two um, patients' stories or family reactions that stand out in your mind to this day?
There's so many, but a couple. One, it was a few years ago, um, when pre-COVID, and you guys brought in a phone, and it was kind of the beginning of the phone. And I had a kid, I think he was 14 at the time, and he was very withdrawn. He didn't talk. He just, you know, sat there, and um, minimal interaction. Um, and it was kind of the beginning of the treatment, and he was feeling miserable, and you guys brought in the phone for him, and he had the biggest smile that showed these dimples that we didn't even know he had. um, but it was so transforming for him. um, and then he comes in and still to this day, and I think it's been 2 or 3 years since then, he still comes in and he has his phone like this, with his headphones on, and we have to kind of like, hello, I need you to answer some questions. But it's really helped him like cope with port accesses, which his are very, very difficult to do. And so because of the placement of his port, and it just gives him an outlet and a distraction, which is hard for teenagers sometimes. You know, it's easier with a 5-year-old to bring in Olaf and toys and bubbles and things like that, but teenagers are a little bit over that. So it was nice for him to have an outlet, for sure. And then I think the other one that was most special and meaningful to me, is we had one boy who wanted to do a shopping spree so that he could go buy gifts for his family for Christmas. And he was a college student, who I also, it goes to the same college as my son. So there was a special connection there. But unfortunately, he progressed, and ended up having to go to Seattle. So we didn't even get to see him for the last month or so of his life. And then unfortunately, he did die before he was able to get his wish, and died right around Christmas time. And it was very hard for everybody just because of the way everything happened. And he was the sweetest, kindest kid. Um, And in hearing about Rachel, he very much had a similar personality to Rachel, I think, very positive and encouraging and kind and thoughtful. And you guys took his wish and still granted it after he died, and changed the gift cards to smaller denominations and gave it to his family so they could disperse gift cards to his friends and family that he had wanted to buy gifts for, so that they could still go buy a gift from him. And that was just so powerful and so meaningful to all of us. And even though that wasn't something we got to see in person or even there was video of, but the thought that his wish to care for other people was still followed through with, even after he lost his battle. And so that was super meaningful for me.
Yeah, that one was a tough one for all of us, for sure. But like you said, it was an honor to be able to give his friends and family something to hold on to for forever with that. So, well, thanks for taking the time to do this with us. I know it's really important for our followers to learn about kind of the front lines of what's happening out there. So it's always great talking to you, Candice. Before I let you go, I have to ask one last question, and that's whether or not you have forgiven Alex for hitting you with a giant sponge at the water blaster party a couple of years ago. Gosh, that was what, 4 or 5 years ago now?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little secret. I totally moved on and forgot about the sponge thing, but he has so much guilt that it's entertaining to me. So I love to give him a hard time. So it's always great to make fun of Alex. It just makes life a little more exciting.
Absolutely.
But I love all of you guys dearly. You are the best foundation that I know of for anything. I'm always talking you guys up and love what you do. It's so amazing to see you guys, your grassroots dedication, local group, truly honoring Rachel's legacy. This has to have exceeded every expectation she had. So I appreciate you all, even Alex. Love you guys greatly. So thank
Absolutely.
you.
Oh yeah, thank you. And I don't actually know if you are aware of this, but we are sitting at hug application number 99. So number 100 could be coming through any moment, which is very fun and exciting. So, well, great to talk to you, and looking forward to seeing you and hugging you in person sometime soon.
Yes. Thank you again for everything you do for us and our kids and our families. You guys are a gift. So thank you.
Thank you, Candice. We'll talk soon.